using his range advantage, using the right guns can be very hard to deal with in that 1v1 matchup.
Certainly can be, as you can see here from the observers. Just quickly getting Tally's opinion. Skin check, are we happy?
No.
I'm so ready for that. You're like, they know it, you know it. It's a sad time. It really is a sad time. But I'll tell you what's interesting about this is the fact that we are going back to a full AD carry meta. I might hold that for a second is, oh my god, how that did not connect. He's baited out in that time. You can see Gudo cracking up in the camera. But for a time when the LCO was, first, introduced, it was really the battle between the likes of Violet and Praetor. Raze was overseas in North America. Limus had yet joined the league. And these two had so many battles over the years between PGG and Peace. So it's cool to see them both on, you would say, unique and signature champions, just in different lanes now.
Yeah, nice to know the history between these players is such a long-standing thing, and they are like playing what you would consider their, some of their premier champions. A lot of, I think that Ezreal's been out of the meta for so long that a lot of people don't know. A lot of the older AD carries and like Violet, Raze, Praetor, they all are like very proficient Ezreal affiliates, like Misfortune, Jinx players. And, with the buffs coming out on 14-13, which we will get to see going into playoffs, I can't wait to see, more Xayah, more Misfortune. I think that Misfortune especially is a champion who should pair so well with the likes of Leona, Nautilus, Rel, and, seeing maybe even the curse of the, the sad bullet time again will be something we see next patch.
It certainly will be, and we've had many variations of that Misfortune, right? It was like the full, Make It Rain Bullet Storm party power with the Arcane Comet, or just that straight nuke with the Lethality Armor Pen. So, certainly some considerations. We joke about it with Raze. When's the Xayah going to come out? But it may just have to wait for those players. She mentioned as well for the Smolder, not a big fan of it in the mid lane. Maybe a bit of a consideration as to why it has gone with the protection of that Leona. More stacks, but an easier time then to navigate those early levels.
Yeah, I just think it is, like, in bot lane, it's still a weak champ in the early game, but you can still navigate that because you are playing a duo lane, so you do have some strength from your support. But in the mid lane, it's kind of like a Kassadin. You are just conceding your early game altogether. You offer absolutely nothing in terms of damage or wave control, especially against something like the Corki, who's just going to match you in scaling while maintaining that priority and still have more damage than you throughout the game.
I'm quite curious then to see what Praetor can get accomplished with this Aphelios. It's been such a long time since we've seen it in the lane elsewhere from the bot lane, but in combination with that, it's the fact that Harry is so incredibly comfortable on the Corki. Almost a case of, look, Praetor, if you played it last game, let me show you how it's done. As we look towards top lane now, and Bio with this blind jack says, Reneka, you can have the Aatrox, but you're not level 6 yet, and your sustain has been hampered.
Yeah, Bio's cooldowns are back up, and once again, we see Reneka on a low amount of health. Both junglers piling to top lane, so this should just be, Kevi meeting Gudo, whether that's going to be at the golems or in the river, and a fight will always favor Kevi. He does have the Conqueror versus the, more income keystone coming out of Gudo, so he does have the combat power thanks to how strong Dana is in these duels. And if, Gudo decides to leave and not cover his top laner right now, it will be lights out for Reneko.
Yeah, Reneko's in a lot of trouble right now. Kevi patiently waiting. Gudo still playing towards the chickens on his side of the map. Bio waiting to try and crash in this next wave. And I think, yep, disaster is on the horizon. Two ganks being teased at, one in the mid lane and one in the top lane. Who looks to try and hit the trigger first? As Gudo does not connect the spear. The bindings seem to be good enough, but the trade from Reneko at least answers back.
Yeah, that is a godsend for Mammoth there, that Reneko was able to trade that kill. Surprised that Bio was the one who did tank that dive initially. I think that Kevi is, he throws down his burst. He doesn't need to stay in for that damage. Should just be the one to tank and get out there very easily. But Bio Panther does fall down. They do get the 1-for-1, so it's a bit of a save for Gudo there. If he is able to steal these chickens away with that smite. Did blow Harry's flash in the mid lane, so the early game is very comfortable for Mammoth right now.
That it certainly is, and it's a case of what can get done with this newfound tempo, because bot lane for Mammoth would be their one sore spot right now. They're just looking to really bide their time and pick up whatever they can get. Very difficult for Voice to jump in, punished and countered really by the Braum, and very difficult then for the Harass to answer back as the Smolder, because Ezreal, such a nuisance.
Yeah, so we see Bio initially going in for the dive and just unfortunately shorts his flash into the wall, doesn't get out of the Infernal Chains, and that means he falls down as well. So that misplay by him means Reneko much more comfortable in this lane. He would have been pretty much lights out for him continuing, as we know this matchup very much scales into the Jax's favor, but with a stacking wave, with everyone coming down the bot lane, this might be a dive happening, but Gudo is on, the right position of the map, and he can really do such a good job to counter this, and this is just very nice by Mammoth. I think we're seeing a lot more teamwork they were talking about we wanted to see from the first game.
Yeah, the communication, the understanding, the read as to what Team Bliss's next play would be is certainly working in their favor, and you can see that Predator not keen to get drawn into that occasion of going down to the bot lane. He's much more interested in farming, getting a free time to chip away and hunt at some of this turret plate gold. But to have that tracking and to have Gudo in the right place at the right time, certainly going to distract Bliss from finding their classic early game strongholds. As we check in with top lane one more time, and really is going to be a battle of who can hit their cooldowns and who can get that lockdown, because they're just go, 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 regardless if they have mana or not. Yeah,
this is just the classic Jax matchup, always jumping on the enemy, abusing your low cooldowns, trying to make this as volatile as possible. We do have Predator coming top with the worst gun combo possible, so I'm not sure this is going to result in a kill because he doesn't really do anything. I'm not sure why I'm seeing both AD carry mid lane as roam. I don't really think they do anything in the early game besides, do damage. Would much rather see them both sit in their lane and scale up to become strong. But these skirmishes could be quite valuable for both teams.
Let's see then what they can find with it, because the combo does find himself a two-man route.
Red, white.
Vigil, red and white. Now, so suddenly you're an absolute powerhouse in these team fights. Gudo takes the 1v1 into Kevi, gets taken away in the end, unable to find the killing blow. And Harry, topped up and healthy, quite happy about this one, saying, we've gone for the dive, you've gone for the kill, you're just not going to find it. Looks at Predator for a second.
Harry?
As soon as voice initiates, though, the shield goes up. Unbreakable and unkillable is Harry, who's running for his life, but a flash in his head. It's a trade that Predator was willing to make. And Bliss, with all this control, much in part to the Brom, allowing them to hit these stuns, has allowed them to run members down and ultimately get the team fight win.
Ooh, we'll have to see. Yeah, so he does not decide to go for that exit kill onto Aladoric. Does have the damage there, but respecting Kevi, we'll be able to find the trade onto him pretty easily. These skirmishes are not so bad, especially for the mana side. They want to be able to find anything in the early game because we know that when they get to the mid game, these team fights are going to be so hard, especially with how easy it is for, Kevi, if he does get the zonies on his second item, to just go in, create so much space for his carry to do damage. And I think that creating volatility in early game will favor Mammoth because we all know how scary an affiliates can be, with the correct guns in these certain team fights.
Absolutely, yeah, certainly with the right weapon set up, with the right items behind you, you can do so much damage. It is pretty much criminal by that point. Not to mention a Smolder that could get amongst it as well. Predator blocked inside there with the grubs. Where did you go? Where do you go? You have no flash. You are completely stuck in place. And Bio, with the last breath of damage, managed to survive and force the other members back.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm watching, Simi. There seems to be a lot of disconnection coming from the Mammoth side. They just left their main carry in the pit when he had access to the red-white guns. It felt like they were very confident to take that fight, but the moment the members from Bliss showed up, they all just jumped over the wall, and unfortunately, Predator can't do that, and he's just left in the pit to die.
Yeah, pretty rough for all the credit and kudos we've given them before about, being locked in and having the same ideas. That one looked very much disjointed, and I'm curious as to how this bot lane's going to play on outright, because we talk about Smolder being a late game beast, but an Ezreal champion, like a Corki, right, wants to get that tier as quickly as possible, wants to spike before these crit chance champions can come into effect. Well, right now the early game most certainly is theirs.
Yeah, and they just, completely left him in the pit by himself against, the entire enemy team. It's just an easy pickup for them. Mammoth did have the resources to fight this. They both are missing ultis on, multiple team members, but I think that definitely favors, champs like Nidalee, who just don't really rely on the cooldown of the ultimate because they don't need it to do damage. They just need to land a spear, and suddenly, we can really blow up members with paired with Leona, paired with the gun combo coming out of Predator, and that was probably a time for them to fight.
Let's see if they get given another opportunity, a golden opportunity like that again to try and contest, because that mistake has cost them quite dearly here at 9 minutes into the game, already behind by 2,000 gold with the 2 kills they found so far. You certainly need to find a way back into this one bit. The first item spike, or if they can hang on for dear life, potentially 2. But this is a case once more for Kevi to say, I can really do as I please. And we've just started the first dragon.
Yeah, the one saving grace this game, Skimmy, for Mammoth, even though they are falling behind right now, is their lanes are doing much better individually. We see Reneko doing much better in his individual 1v1, creating a bit of a CS lead for himself, much more comfortable thanks to the, trade in the early game. Mid lane isn't so one-sided either. We aren't seeing Harry on the own just scaling up and being ready to take over the game. And, the one pain point for them right now is that bot lane, which is coming out purely from the 2v2, and the matchup. This is the main pain point for Mammoth, and they're going to have to be able to navigate this if they want to be able to hit the mid game.
Oh, they're about to go in for the all-in here as the Unbreakable goes up, the Glacial Fissure goes in. Voice says, yeah, we can fight this. I don't think you can, quite honestly. Out comes Mummy, and is she there to act as the babysitter or there to tuck you in sweet dreams goodnight? Because it seems as if, even with Gudo showing up, there's 2v2 of Aladoric can just take you all on. And, well, they can keep them interested enough that Harry just flashes across the wall and says, I'll get that kill. We'll finish the job. Now a double buff on Corki and a turret that ceases to exist.
Yeah, Guncraft tries to flash forward to find the execute onto Violet with that last bit of damage he needed from his Q just out of range. So he just, blows the flash and dies. Harry roaming on the Corki. So strange, but finding so much success. He's a lot of volatility in these side lanes that he's moving to impact. And, even though we do see Predator picking up 2 plates in the mid lane, it doesn't really matter because Harry is getting gold anyway.
It certainly is. Valkyrieing aggressively time and time again. They look towards Predator. Where do you go? There is no escape. And unfortunately, you now take a quick stop check of the scoreboard and say, everywhere is dying, and Bliss are incredibly fed.
Yeah, no, as we were seeing the praises from Reneko this game, he does fall down to Bipanther, and I believe a gank from Kevy that could have been a solo kill because we did not see the top side of the map. But anyway, Bipanther does, get the kill, and I think that is just so good for the side of Bliss. They're finally creating these advantages that they need to be able to win these side lanes, and that's just going to be such a different game state.
Oh, he's gone for the flash to try and hit. Yeah, and unfortunately, Kevy says, you've run the wrong way on this occasion. Yeah, it's easy as that, really.
Jungle diff.
Yeah.
Double Triforce coming out as well, Skimmy. So, the major power spikes coming out of the Corki and Ezreal are going for that same build as well. Double tier stacking Triforce. So, these AD carries, when they spike on these 2 items, are going to be so strong. Predator does have the flash this time, but Kevy knows that himself, doesn't blow the ult. Still has that one for these following team fights.
Holds on for that Moonfall, which certainly is going to find a fair bit of value with all these flashes missing. The only way to get back in would be that of Voice and Goodo to try and take down that kill or, find some creative angle to get the job done. But ultimately, they're getting pushed further and further back, much like Game 1, right, where it became so much harder to try and contest on objectives, even in the waves. And they look to try and say, can we punish this Ezreal? But such a slippery champion, it just means that he can solo soak, and Aladoric can go elsewhere to influence it further.
Just a really good use of resources from Bliss. They know that Violet very comfortable in this, weak side because he can clear out most of this wave thanks to him having the Triforce so early on in the game. So if any creeps do hit the turret, it's not going to be many. So if he has to zone himself, he doesn't lose much initially. And, Aladoric can roam and impact the map, and there's just no trade happening on the other side of the map because of how well Violet is able to clear these waves.
Somebody help Reneko. He needs another member here because he's just getting ganked relentlessly. And the retaliation is a little bit too slow, but they will look towards Harry. Now surrounded by 3 members. Can he take anybody down in the process? He cannot, but very, very close to getting Prey of 2.
And that's just the first tower going over to Bio. Kevy's getting himself some gold as well. He already has his first item completed. Bio going to pick up his Triforce on his base as well. And this is looking very scary for Mammoth. Even though Harry does fall down in mid lane, once again, there is no wave push happening. There is no trade happening for Mammoth. There's no tower plates being taken. It's just not enough gold is being traded right now for this map being split.
But all I will say here, Tally, is somewhere in the world, Freak is watching and he sees triple Trinity Force. And we're going back to the glory days, right? Those champion spotlights, tons of damage across the board. They have spiked beyond belief. And, to say they're up by 5k gold almost feels like an understatement.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think Triforce is it's probably one of the strongest power spikes in the game when you complete the item. The components are not bad in itself, but Triforce, you just feel quite powerful when you pick up this item, especially on champs who can use it so well, like the Jax with low cooldowns, who can abuse the Sheen procs consistently, and the Ezreal. Corki not so much, but he is just very good with all the stats the item provides.
Let's see what they can get accomplished with it. Demolisher also available here for Biopanther with the Grass Rune active. So certainly given a chance to try and be a bit of a split-pushing menace with those 5 stacks. Not the 6 this time.
Violet.
The trap is being laid though. Can we take Violet? Voice goes for the Hex Flash, maybe jumping the gun a little bit, but doesn't manage to land that Zenith Blade as he jumps in and he goes, hang on a minute, I didn't mean to do it. I am so sorry, Mr. President. Aladoric with the shield on up, cops the Solar Flare, and do they decide to go for more Glacial Fissure still to try and disengage? This spear is good, but they just soak it all up, Tally.
Easily walks that one off. It was surprising that Prey decided to step out of the bush and, ruin the surprise plan that Mammoth were working on so hard, but I think that just goes to show Prey does value that CS maybe a bit too much and puts himself in a position where, the Bliss members don't feel scared anymore, and I think Bliss are quite comfortable taking this 2v3 because there's always the ability to outplay the Nidalee when these spears don't land.
Certainly do. They've still been going in 2v3 all game long. That Mystic Shot misses, but Kevy's here to play catch up, and here we go. It's as simple as that. Just a cheeky Crescent Strike from afar.
Bio.
They sized it up, and then Bio's like, oh, you thought you were getting away. A new challenger enters the arena. Braydev, can you escape this one? You've got no flash. Trusha Barrage connects. Can they get one? They can get 2. And Bio, look, I mean, this is almost like a gauntlet run at this stage, a horror maze. How do you escape them all?
You can't, Skimmy. There's just way too much power coming out of the Blitz side right now, and it's going to be very easy for them to just push all these waves in, steal the enemy camp, secure as much gold as possible, and it's quite hard for Blitz to keep finding his trades, because even if they do find his kill onto Harry, once again, he's killed the wave, so there just is no, trade that they can get besides the 300 gold from the kill.
Yeah, I can say, that was worth. We've put the Corky Slash on cooldown for a little bit longer, but yeah, this gold lead is just ballooning further and further, and there's no real signs of it slowing on down, right? No turrets, a single Void Grub was denied, but from an objective standpoint, it is very rough pickings at this stage, because the Jax, very different tune compared to last game as the Zeri. It is very much all about the solo laners this time. And this Jax, 1k more fed than anybody else in the game.
Yeah, and his direct counterpart is almost 3,000 gold behind, which is such a big deal. We only see the one item being completed for Neko. Bipanther is almost at his second item already. There is no combination of members who can go down to this Jax lane and really, kill him if Bipanther doesn't decide to fight himself to the death when they show up. He's going to be able to escape easily, punish his, direct opponent in the 1v1 very, very comfortably, and once again, we keep talking about how strong these side lanes are, and I think this is the story for so much of these, top teams versus the bottom teams, is there's just a big lane dynamic where it comes to how much they fall behind and how much it impacts the side lanes later on.
It's becoming more and more evident, right, as we see more of these games take place. There's sort of the different levels and the discrepancies between what makes you a top team and what doesn't. The sort of extra layers of, you got mechanics, but now you need to add this to your game and add this to your game. We're certainly seeing more and more of these teams where they are so heavily mismatched, where the macro becomes that much more important, and that's what allows them to balloon into a very close 10k lead before the 20-minute mark. Certainly this game feels a lot more convincing, a lot more one-sided than it did in game number one. But yeah, another flash goes out. Instant cleanse there from Violet, not going to be deterred by that solo flare. Hits by the Moonlight Vigil, shrugs it off, does not really mind. And if we fall triple Trinity Forces enough, now we've got 4 with Guncrab picking up 1 for himself. But it's so confusing. Do we attend to this top lane? Do we defend the split push in mid by Biopanther? The Herald goes out. They look to get another turret. That's their 4th off the game. Gudo's like, well, you know what? I'll sacrifice my team if I can just snipe away this Ezreal. And can he get that done? Because Alador's looking to protect the smite. It's denied. And it's just pure frustration.
And they can't even find the kill on the Violet. The one trade they had was, Gudo landing back-to-back spears onto the Ezreal. Almost found that shutdown, but just not quite enough. Just really well played by Violet to cut that one out. And Skimmy, as you did mention, 4 Trinity Forces has completely ruined the dynamic now, because it's supposed to be 3. Now there's 4, doesn't work. Just ruined it all.
It's ruined it all. Absolutely. I mean, it's no longer called the Triforce. It's
the Quad Force.
It just doesn't hit, does it? It just has no real good ring to it, unfortunately. So we're going to have to forget about that one, because Meredith, once again, finds himself surrounded by a couple of members that are very keen to take him down and very easily achieving that outcome. And yeah, look, I mean, it feels rough to say, but it's running out of options for Member to try and get themselves back into this.
Yeah, and I want to mention that I really like Kevy's build, his adaptation to the draft. We're used to seeing Dino go for like Nash's, these fully AP builds, Zhonya's second, but he recognizes that he is that main engage tool as voice. Gonna get chunked out a little bit, should be able to walk this one off, but this is just Bliss being able to walk in and just muscle the enemy out because they are so much stronger everywhere on the map. And, back to my point on Kevy, just very nicely recognizes he is the only engage tool his team has, so he pairs it up, with the Proto Belt to give him that extra bit of a oomph to be able to get in the fight. And because he is so strong, doesn't decide to go for the Zhonya's, but just the straight bruiser item in the Riftmaker.
Yeah, give me the Riftmaker, give me the Darksteel, give me that fighting power, right? The true damage, the Omnivamp, it's all going to add up, certainly for sure. Is Renekko! There's the Moonfall we've been waiting 19 minutes for. It finds so much value as it locks multiple members in place, but it's difficult to get the killing blow. Finally, Violet opens up their account and takes down Renekko. He's down for 30 seconds, and look, it's not going to be quicker than game one just yet, but this is Bliss already breaking open the base.
Yeah, and what a hard to kill, 1 in 3 Aatrox. Renekko is just doing so much healing there, constantly eking out like a proc from the item, or like getting his Qs off with the ult running means he was just healing so much. And maybe this would have looked very different if he was a bit stronger. I want to see more of this Aatrox, especially with his burst. And Biopanther finds the 4-man
start. My god, Player of the Day contender already. 4-man disgusting counter-strike coming out of the Jax right there. He starts off by taking 180 carry down with him. He gets a second. A quad stun nets him a triple kill.
And I think this is one of the slept-on champions in this meta, Skimmy. You know, I always talk about AA carry being strong. Counter-Strike owns them. You know, it's so hard to do damage to a champion who just dodges all of your kit. Pair that up with the Braum, have the Unbreakable, avoid all that damage coming out of these 80 carries. Also really good, the concussive throws paired with your own AA carries and the Jax and the Diana. This is a really nice comp coming out of Bliss to respond to the current meta.
It certainly is. Incredibly one-sided though, Tele. There was no discussion, no real contest in this game. 20 minutes, 22 kills to 3. They spawn from the fountain, but Bliss are looking to farm them and take them down one more time. They smash it. They absolutely smash it, beating their record in game at #1 to close out the series in an incredibly convincing fashion. And I think for them, they can say, you know what, job well done. We can then, you know, turn our attention towards week 6, really look to lock down for what will be our final game and a chance to see what they can do up against Kanga. The playoffs getting nearer and nearer now, Telly, and it's great to see these teams hitting their, you know, their peak form now.
Yeah, and I think that it's Bliss should feel very comfortable